everybody, I'm Ebony. This is Ebonee's Creativity. Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. In today's video, I plan to do a furniture flip on this piece. Now, if you watched my vlog for Vlogmas, I only got 2 of them up, but if you watched, I think it was the second one, I can't remember. I told you a little furniture fairy delivered me this dresser, and I haven't gotten to work on it yet, but now is the time. If you didn't watch that vlog, you can go check it out. But basically, I have a neighbor who's gotten really invested in the fact that I'm a female flipping furniture. He thinks it's cool, etc., etc. And he drops furniture that he finds on trash day off on my porch. So I call him my furniture fairy now because he just makes the furniture appear. I don't have to go out and find it, and it's a beautiful thing that I have. Thank God for this neighbor of mine. He really comes in clutch in a lot of different ways. But anyway, he dropped this piece off on my porch, and today is the day I'm going to make it over. My plan was to do it outside like I normally do all of my flips. However, today it is clearly not in the cards for me to work outside because it is a snowstorm outside, or there is a snowstorm outside. So then I started to think, okay, don't get discouraged. Continue with the furniture flip, because what about those people who might have a small area to flip furniture, who don't have an outside space, who live in places where there's mostly inclement weather, who can't really afford to spend a lot of money on flips, who don't have a lot of time, but they may have a piece that they see something in or that they want to keep that works for their space that they don't want to get rid of for whatever reason. And then I thought, we are coming into my storage room and we're going to flip a piece of furniture from start to finish in this room so that you can see if you don't have time, money, space, whatever you don't have, you can still make beautiful furniture flips. So I hope that you find this video useful if you will fit into one of those categories. If you have not yet, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and let's hop right on into this flip. Aside from this blemish here, the piece is in pretty good shape. Here is a little tour of the piece. And the big bummer is that it is covered in stickers. So you can see all the way down, it's kind of covered. But the inside is very clean. And it appears to be solid wood in the inside. This top, at least, I know is not solid wood because of this particle board that I see. And it's going to be hard to get some of the angles that I need to get, but we're just going to make do. This side is pretty okay. So all we've got to do really in terms of prep work is maybe hit this corner and, of course, fill up that corner. And I think that ought to do it. So here is one more look over the piece. And let's get to flip. We're going to start out by filling this corner. I have this DAP wood filler here. It's definitely seen better days, but we're snowed in right now. So we just gonna add a little bit of water and stir it up and make it do what it do. I think I added a little bit too much water, but hopefully that will just add to the drying time and not mess up the effectiveness. So I'm just gonna put this here. Uh-oh. Got some clumps in it. So just gonna try to flatten that out a bit. I feel like I might have to do 2 coats of this because I made it so runny, but I'm cool with that. I'm just making it as thick as I can. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. And on second thought, this little corner here doesn't really need any filler. It's just kind of lifting. So I'm gonna see if I can get a little glue in there. I'm gonna just go ahead and break the piece completely off. Now you can see better. So I just added some glue in here and then I smeared it around. Now I'm just gonna flip this piece back down and then I'm gonna use this piece of painter's tape to secure it tightly, and once that's dry it should hold. Up next, I'm gonna figure out how to get these stickers off. I've got some glue gun in this razor. I'm not quite sure if the glue gun will work, but it says it's adhesive remover, so hopefully it will help me. Some of these I was able to just pull off. Some came off with just the razor, and some I had to use the glue gun. So whenever I did have to use the glue gun, I just dabbed it onto the paper towel and kind of lightly moistened the area where the sticker is, and then I was able to get it to come right off with the razor. I was able to get the stickers off without leaving any residue, so I was really happy about that, and here's how that looked. My next step was to go ahead and start removing the hardware, and I always keep those together in like a container or a plastic bag, whatever I have closest at that time. So here's how we are looking now. Now that I've got all the hardware removed, I'm going to go back and sand some of that wood filler, and I'm just hand sanding since this is beginner friendly and you may not have a sander. As I'm sanding, I'm just running my finger across it just to make sure that the two areas that I'm patching together have a smooth transition. And I think I forgot to mention this, but this sanding block is also found at Dollar Tree. I just wrapped mine with another sheet of sandpaper because mine has seen better days for sure. So I just kept sanding until I felt like it was completely smooth, and once I was satisfied with it, this is how it looked. This tape, and that looks like it's laid down pretty nicely. So now I'm going to go ahead and wipe the piece down, and I'm just using Dawn and warm water. I specifically chose this piece to be a beginner friendly piece because it had minimal prep work and minimal fixes that it needed. So if you're a beginner, make sure you look out for the same thing as well. As badly as I want to spray this, it is still a blizzard outside, and I'm making this beginner friendly, and I realize that some of you may not have a sprayer and you may not want to invest in one. So what I have here is a Dollar Tree paint kit. This is what I started doing my furniture flips with. So I'm not going to use a fancy brush. I'm not going to use anything that I would kind of want to use or normally use. We're keeping it cheap and basic like I said we would. So I have this Dollar Tree paint kit. I'll be using this. And for my paint, one second, I will be using this $12 paint from Walmart. I'm going to be making this piece white. I found that white sells well for me in my area. White, black, and pink have been my fastest and best sellers. So I've been doing a whole bunch of black pieces lately. I really wanted to do this in black, but I just decided to do it white just to switch it up a little bit because the last few projects I've done on the channel have been black, but black is really a good seller. So if you're doing this to make a profit, you might want to strongly consider doing it in black. But I'm going to do it in white. This paint is really cheap. It's the Waverly paint, and you can get it from Walmart. So yeah, I've got a $1.25 paint kit and some cheap paint. Chalk paint is going to be key. Typically, I would have had to prime. In order to use a nicer paint, I like to prime and top coat. But with this chalk paint, it says no prep is necessary. So we're not going to do any priming. We'll probably still do something in the way of a top coat. Not sure if I have any wax, but I'll take a look and see what I have. We'll worry about that in the next step. But right now, cheap paint roller, let's get started. As you can see, chalk paint is pretty thick, and I don't really like to paint with that consistency of paint. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of water to mine, not too much, like maybe half a cap full, just to give me some more viscosity. Chalk paint is much more forgiving than other different types of paints that you see me use here on the channel. So for chalk paint, you don't necessarily have to have all of your brush strokes in the same direction or anything like that. There's really a lot less rules. I think the thickness of this paint allows you to kind of go a little bit wilder, and it covers better like any mistakes or brush strokes that you may make. But I just try to do stuff in a uniform way, and I'm really used to having like all my strokes go in the same direction. So I'm going to be doing that. But if you don't have such a good technique down packed yet, you don't have to really worry. Chalk paint is very, very forgiving. You will find that some dressers that you come across have drawers that are like screwed in, and I do not feel like going through all that to unscrew it. These are screwed in. This would have been a lot easier if I could have just removed the drawers, but they're screwed in, and I would have to like figure out where the screws are. Sometimes they're hidden really well. Sometimes you have to take the back panel off to access them. So I just decided to leave these in and do the best paint job I can with them in, because I couldn't be bothered. You know, this is supposed to be beginner friendly and simple, so we're going to keep it that way. But if yours are removable, make sure you number them as you remove them. All right, so now I've gotten all the drawer fronts done, and I'm going to work on this side next. The other side, there's no way for me to film, but you can see me do the top and this side. Really nothing too amazing going on here. I'm just using the foam brush that came in the kit to really make sure I hit these areas. If you are doing this for profit, there is nothing worse than painting a dresser and finally finding a client and then leaning the piece back to load it like into a truck or into your client's car or whatever, and seeing a whole bunch of missed areas. So I like to make sure I kind of bend underneath and look at it from a bottom up view as well. I have seen some flippers that do their first coat with their piece upside down. I ain't got time for that, but I don't think it's a bad idea because it will help you see those spots that you can't necessarily see with the piece right side up. Most times the handles are the dirtiest pieces on a dresser, so I'm just going to make sure to wipe these down really well, but I'm still using Dawn and hot water. If you watched my mantle video or my kitchen pantry restoration video, both of which I will link below, you saw how I kind of made like a really pretty, like multi-dimensional, almost like a glittery type of effect using multiple different tones of gold. So I'm trying to recreate that here. Spoiler alert, it did not work as well on actual metal as it did on wood that I was trying to make look like metal, but these just ended up turning out looking gold with not really any dimension like I wanted, but this is what I did to try to achieve it. I just had a whole bunch of different tones of gold spray paint, and I just kind of lightly glazed over all of them with the different colors after doing a base coat of gold with my rub and buff. Here's how that wound up looking. Okay, so here is how this looks after one coat. Lots of areas that are see-through. That repair on the corner covered up nicely, so that's good. This is gonna need another coat, as you can see. So that's how we're looking after one coat. But I tied up my paint and supplies in this little bag. If you don't know, you can do this, like just stick the whole tray and the roller and everything into a plastic bag if you're going to be recoating within a few days, and it should still stay juicy, nice and juicy, and everything is still wet, so you can continue to use that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get a second coat on. I'm applying my second coat just about the same way as I applied my first, just making sure to get any hidden areas and areas kind of that are underneath the ledges and the edges and that good jazz. So since I have nothing new to add, please make sure you subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Please like this video if you are learning anything from it or just enjoying watching it. And please do not forget to leave a comment. It doesn't have to be anything insightful. It could just be a thumbs up, a check mark, clapping hands, thumbs down, whatever you think about the video. You don't really have to say words, but just leave me comments because that will help me with the algorithm and also with my engagement numbers, which I have a goal of improving this year. Not going to harp on this for too long, but I do just want to add, in case you are not aware, that 2025 will be my last year posting on this channel if I don't start to see some improvement in my engagement and my views, and at least get a little monetization from it, because let's face it, who likes to do all this work for free? So please engage with my channel if you enjoy my videos. There are many different options that you can use to kind of spruce up a more plain piece when you have something kind of like what we just did. It's just a plain white box at this point. You can use brighter colors to make it pop more and just kind of make it into like a statement piece, or you can use all different kind of furniture embellishments. On this channel, I have used 2-part epoxy. I have used these, which are like just stick-ons. Honestly, since I already have these and they're really quick to apply, and I'm doing this for a profit, if I were not shooting this video to show you new things, I would have just done these because I really love these. These add a lot of different visual interest. They're relatively cheap. They can get expensive, but relatively cheap. And they're really easy to apply, and they don't require a drying time or anything. You can just kind of put them on and be done. So I really like these, and they make pieces look very beautiful. Like I said, the bigger ones can get a little costly, but you can find sales sometimes on Amazon, or if you have any gift cards, credits, things like that, you can use that. Today, I'm going to be trying this mix to mold ceramic resin, just because I've never tried it before. And I went to go buy the 2-part epoxy actually, and then I saw this and I was like, something new to try. Let's put it on the channel. I haven't seen anybody use this before, so we're going to give this a go today. It's called Mix to Mold Ceramic Resin. And allegedly, like when I put 2-part epoxy into the search engine, this came up. So allegedly you can use it to make ceramic type of molds, and so we're going to try it today. I have my same mold that I always use, this redesigned with Prima mold. I don't know the name of it, but I think it might be cherry blossoms. I'm not sure, but I only have one mold, and so this is the mold that we're going to be using today. And we're going to try this product out and see what happens. See if we can spruce this dresser up, because what I'm trying to do is make all my pieces pop. I want them to be individual looking. I want my customers to see my pieces and think, man, I've got to have that, and they'll be willing to pay top dollar for it. So that's what I'm trying to do. But if you're just doing this for your home or yourself, definitely look into something like this, especially if you're a beginner, because these are really easy to use, and they really make a big impact on pieces. So as for us today in this video, we're going to be trying this mix to mold. So let's mix up a batch and see how it goes. I've never heard of or used this before, so this is our first time together. All right, I've already got 1 tablespoon of water in here. I have like 3/4 of a tablespoon in here, and then I've got 1/3, just shy of 1/3 of a cup of this mix. So I'm going to pour that in and mix this up. So I'm just going to take my mold and pour this in. I found this stuff pretty easy to work with, but I only have 1 mold, so I was trying to kind of rush it. And when I was rushing, I found that the molds cracked. So this stuff does require the drying time that it says on the package. Since I only have 1 mold, I had to repeat the process of mixing up batches and pouring molds about 6 times, but I was really happy with the end result. I've laid my dresser out on the floor also, and Last time I did something like this, I put them all down the side and a couple on the top, like on the top. I think I'm just going to stick to the body this time and make it easier for myself. So here is where we are now. And I'm glad I flipped this down because I can see kind of the bottom edge needs a little bit more paint. So I'll work on that while I am working on flowers. I don't have a pattern in mind and I don't have any rhyme or reason as to how I'm placing these pieces. I'm simply just going with the flow and just letting the piece tell me what it wants to be. If you want to do a similar project to this where you are adding flowers on top of your piece, I would definitely say to use hot glue along with either a construction adhesive or an E6000. I really prefer liquid nails, but I don't have any right now and I'm trying to use up things that I have. I don't have hot glue either, so I'm just using E6000, which is why I have the piece laid down, because if you try to only use E6000 without the hot glue, the pieces will slide down if you have the piece vertical, so that's why I laid it on its back. Pieces that broke, like this one, I've just been squaring them off and then I'm able to use them like on an edge, like right there. This one I haven't squared off, but you can see what I mean. And I'm still able to use some of the broken pieces just to get rid of them and make sure I don't waste any molds. Even though laying everything out and then going back and removing each piece one by one to glue it was kind of time consuming, I'm really glad that I did that just so I could be sure about the look that I was getting and kind of be intentional about where I was placing things before I was finally gluing them down. One note that I will make is that I'm trying to put the glue like toward the center, and I'm doing it like really sparingly on these stem parts. See, I don't have any on the edge, and that's because when I place this down, of course there'll be squeeze out, and I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have a big mess. So that is supposed to come like that. And then when I push it down, because that E6000 doesn't set right away, I have a skewer here where I can knock back the extra glue so I don't have a big bubble. And when I'm pushing it, it's kind of sliding around some. So I'm using the skinny end of the skewer on the skinnier parts, of course. And then on the bigger parts, I have the thicker end of the skewer, or even make like a little triangle with the napkin and just dab it up like that. You're not going to be able to get all the spill out, but that does help some. Though it's tedious to go and place all these, then lift them up and replace them, this project definitely gave me time to take a mental break. So if you kind of have a lot on your mind or some things going on in life, this type of project that's kind of tedious, but it doesn't really require a lot of attention, would be a great thing for you to embark upon. I really suggest furniture flipping as a form of therapy. If you have an interest in it, I'm here to encourage you to get you a piece and just try these simple techniques that I'm showing you, and hopefully you will be a furniture flip convert. So now this is the next day and I'm using the foam brush that came in my Dollar Tree kit, and I'm just doing like a dry brushing technique. I have a little bit of rub and buff on the tip and I'm just lightly brushing over the flowers just to add a hint of gold, but I'm not trying to cover them completely. All right, so the piece is done and it looks beautiful. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I was able to use cheap materials, so I'm really happy with that. Hopefully that helped you out to give you some ideas or to show you the possibilities in one of your old pieces or a piece that you might find. I'm conflicted right now because I know I said we're not going to be using any tools in the beginning of this video, but I want to spray this with a poly top coat simply because I have all these intricate areas that I have to top coat, and I don't want globs of stuff getting caught up on here. Like, I'm teaching, but I'm also selling this for a profit, and I want to make sure that it's nicely coated for whatever customer buys it. So I started my channel off keeping it real, and I'm just going to continue to keep it real. I will be spraying this piece because I have a sprayer and I have the top coat already on hand. And like I said, I don't want to do a subpar piece or top coat just because I'm trying to show you guys that it's possible. So here is the top coat that I will be using. I will be spraying it. If you don't have intricate details that you need to get into like I do, then you won't have a need to spray. If you are thinking about starting to spray, there is a sprayer on Amazon. I want to say it's called like Super Max Finish. It's blue. If you look at my videos from like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, you will see it in those videos. It's the first sprayer that I started out with. I know starting out with a sprayer can be nerve-wracking and you may not want to invest a lot of money. You don't have to, because that one is relatively cheap and it does a good job for its price. So if mine had not broken, I would not have bought the Wagner, but I broke it. It's my fault that it's broke. There's no issue with that sprayer at all. It is a very good beginner sprayer. Super Max Finish Plus, I think. Put Super Max Finish sprayer in Amazon and you will see it. It's blue on the sprayer, on the part that you hold. So I'm going to be spraying this. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, the company that made the paint also has a matte varnish that you can use, and you can find this in Walmart for relatively cheap as well. I would use this because I have it, but when I'm doing white pieces, I just don't trust any top coat that I'm not really familiar with, because certain top coats will yellow over time, and I want to make sure my piece stays nice and bright white. So this even looks a little bit yellow in the container, and I'm afraid to use it. I was going to just go ahead and paint in all these intricate areas just to show y'all that it's possible, but if all the intricate areas turn yellow, then that would not be good for me. So I'm not going to choose to use this varnish, but there is this option from the same company that makes the paint that you can find at Walmart. I have used this on a colored piece and it works just fine. It works like the rub-on poly that Fusion sells, which I really like. So if you're in a place where you can't spray, these are options that you have. One other option that you have is wax or a furniture salve. So I have this furniture salve by Wise Owl. It's very expensive. This was like $30 something or $40. I can't even remember because I have to blank it out of my mind to spend that much money. So, oh, it says 30 bucks. But I think I paid more than that. I don't know. Whatever. It's between 30 and 40 bucks. And it's a really nice product and it makes the piece smell amazing. So sometimes I'll take this with me when I'm selling, and I will ask my client if they don't have any allergies. Are they okay with me rubbing it down just to make the piece smell really good? You can also use this to top coat painted surfaces. So this is another option, or you can buy a clear wax, which will also work just fine. And those don't tend to yellow over time. But like I said, I trust this Wise Owl salve. I trust polyacrylic, and I trust the wipe on poly top coat from Fusion Mineral Paints. But anything else I won't put on a white piece just because I don't feel like repainting. So those are your options if you don't have the money or time or space or whatever to spray. You can use a wax, a wipe on poly. You can even brush this stuff on, but I don't have any paint brushes, so I can't even show you that. I'm just really trying to use up the materials that I have because I spent a lot of money on paint supplies, and I'm just trying to use up what I have. So what I do have is a sprayer and this poly, so I'm just going to use that. But there are other options if you don't have a lot of intricate details, or if you are not in a position to go ahead and use a sprayer. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned something or if you found it entertaining in any way, please make sure you thumbs up the video, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will be looking forward to seeing what you put in the comment section. My new upload day is Tuesday, so please make sure you tune in on Tuesdays. I will try to stay consistent with posting. If I'm not able to, I will definitely leave something on the post tab just so you will know what's going on, but I'm going to try, and I think Tuesdays will work out a lot better for me than trying to work all week and jam-pack a whole project into a weekend. So I hope these tips will save you some time, some money, and help you figure out a new life for one of your old pieces. And I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next flip.